So we have with us today Omar Relampago Juarez. I almost want to do it. Omar Relampago Juarez. Where's the Relampago come? How did you get that as a nickname?
Well, ever since I started boxing, I was always real fast with my feet, fast with my hands, and I told my dad I wanted to be called Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we have a last name. We have a lot of Mexican American fans, family. So my dad told me, let's put it in Spanish. You know, Relampago. It sounds stronger with your last name. And
I like it.
Yeah, it flows nicely.
It does flow nicely. Yeah. So that was a good choice. Now, your dad was a boxer also, right?
Yeah. He did a couple of amateur. Thing with my dad was he didn't have the best support system, the kind of support system I had. You know, my parents were all in, and we were all obsessed in this specific lifestyle because that's what it was. You know, it was a lifestyle.
Well, I read that your dad, I like this image that when he was young and training, he would just hang a bag from a tree.
Yeah. We even did that at one point at our house too. The places we've trained at as well, they're very humble. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about my childhood. That we didn't walk straight into a very nice gym with the best gloves, with the best equipment. You know what I mean? My first 10 fights, I was wearing shoes that were 2 sizes bigger than my original size, and it was a very, very humble background that I'm very, very grateful for because it's made me who I am today.
Well, when did your dad have you, or when did you decide that you wanted to start training? How old were you?
I was 8 years old when I started.
8 years old?
Yeah.
That's like second, third grade.
Yeah, I was a third grader. I was a third grader when I decided to start. So many times where I wanted to quit. You know, it happens. It happens. Everybody wants to quit at one point, but something.
But were you like in Golden Gloves?
Yeah. We would go to tournaments. We didn't start competing nationwide until I was about 13. But from 8 to 12, just here, South Texas. You know what I mean? And
so you're fighting in Brownsville and Matamoros and McAllen, where?
Just in the valley.
Just in the valley.
Yeah, little. We call them smokers.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, they're basically little smokers here and there. Just regular fights, win or lose. That doesn't matter. They write it in your book, your license. But it's just normal fights. And then it wasn't until my maybe 50th fight, I was about 13, 14. We started traveling nationwide. I started making more and more noise, and it's all definitely paid off.
So where are you right now, if you can describe your national reputation within the sport? Where are you?
Well, I'm a professional boxer. I'm a signed professional boxer by PBC. PBC stands for Premier Boxing Champions, and they've had Mayweather, they have Pacquiao. You know, they've had a lot of greats, and I believe they started in 2012. And it's one of the biggest boxing promotion companies in the world. Very blessed, very grateful. The first ever in Brownsville, so it's a blessing, you know. And
so you've arrived at what we call the next level, where you're right at the verge of being at the elite of the elite.
I signed the New York Yankees of boxing, basically. Like
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm.
You're there.
I'm up there, but I have to stay up there. That's the most important thing.
And so you have your chance to prove yourself.
Yes, definitely.
At the highest level now. Now, what is your next fight?
My next fight, sometime September, November, around there. Right now, we're just staying ready. My last fight, I suffered a rib injury, but you know now everything's perfectly fine.
Right.
We're all good to go. So we're gonna get a date soon.
Where was your last fight?
Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you are the big time now.
No, well, that's my second time fighting in Vegas. That was my second time fighting in Vegas. And the first time I fought at MGM Grand, second time was Mandalay Bay. And this last fight was my first title. Like it was a big story, but this last fight I ended up fighting at welterweight because my opponent came in like 2.5 pounds overweight.
Oh.
And you could tell in the fight, you know, he was pushing me back. You could tell who the bigger man was. But, you know, gracias a Dios, we won. We won everything. It was by split. but we won the WBC International welterweight title.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big step, but we're just gonna keep on working.
And that was covered. That was broadcast on Fox Sports.
Yeah. All my fights are on Fox.
Very cool. And were you were part of a ticket that night? I was at the several fights.
Yeah. But they usually show the preliminaries, like the prospects, and then they show the regular Fox fights, and then they go to pay-per-view. It's like 3 sections.
So pay-per-view is where you make the really big money, right?
Yeah.
And so you're on the verge of that.
Almost
there.
Very soon. Yes, sir.
Then you can hang out with Elon Musk over there. Well, tell me, since you started young and your father trained you, what were some of the kind of mantras that he put in your head? The words to live by. What dichos did he give you that stick with you today, that still are up here in your head? I'm talking about things like no pain, no gain. Very kind of simple things that you live by.
It wasn't really a saying, but he made a very, very good point. He said, no matter what, if you want to be good at something, you have to grind. You have to put in the hours and hours of consistency. You have to be obsessed with it. In order for your hard work to pay off, you have to be obsessed with it. He said, why not choose boxing when you've already chosen all these years? I believe because my older brother started boxing with me. He was 10 years old. Yeah. And at about 15, he decided to quit to go to football. He's doing collegiate football right now. He's Division II, and thank God everything's gone good for him. But when he left, I was left alone. You know what I mean? Right. So he asked me. He said, like, you want to continue doing this sport? I mean, if you want to get out, just get out. I'll continue doing what I'm doing. You guys do your own thing. But if you don't want us to invest so much time, money, love into this sport, into this lifestyle, if you're not 100%, don't do it. You're just wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting your commitment, your time that you could have been putting into something else that you like, that you love. You know what I mean? Yes. So I really thought about it. I was like, wow, like if I give this up, which I've been doing since I was 8 years old, I just gave up all that time. I was like, let me continue. Let me see where it's going to take me. So I started, and I believe that switch that I turned on made me really realize, wow, like I was made for this. I started to win tournaments. I started to get recognized nationwide, and then by 18, I got signed by PBC.
So you saw it as all that work paid off. Oh, you saw it. Definitely. Saw it every day. The harvest came in. From all that hard work. I like the use of the word grind. You got to grind it out.
Yeah, you have to. You have to be. Maybe not. I was fortunate and blessed to have what I needed. My parents gave me not what I wanted, but what I needed. I was blessed, and we are blessed. All their hard work has paid off. My job isn't done. As a sibling, as a I'm new husband, as a son, everything. My job isn't done, but I really love how I came from a humble background like that, training and literally sparring with my brother in the streets, stuff like that. That makes me very, very grateful for what I have today.
Yeah, that is good. Brothers make for good sparring partners on many levels.
It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun.
But my wife is from Matamoros, and she worked out as a boxer, just at a gym, just as exercise. She loved it. And I think her favorite movies are all the Rocky movies.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So she told me to ask you if Rocky's real, if that is legitimate description of the boxing world. I mean, inevitably it's hyperinflated, but are there elements of it that are inspirational to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The training, perhaps?
The training is not real. Yeah, the training and the fighting is not real, but the lifestyle that he goes through, the way that you see how lonely he is, that a lot of that is real. That's another thing. It's one of the toughest and loneliest sports in the world. It's only you up there, so it gets lonely a lot.
So you're like a marathoner, because the marathoners can say that. Yeah, exactly. It's the loneliness of the long-distance runner. But you ran when you were younger. You did cross country. So did that mentally prepare you for the lonely life of boxing?
No, I was. I went through that little road already at that. And once I started, you know what I mean. Once I started competing, once I had to cut weight for tournaments, I had to give up cake. I had to give up going to parties. I had to, like, I wanted to go with my friends, you know, to somewhere this weekend. Like, no, you can't. We're going sparring Corpus this weekend. You know what I mean? No, I want to go this weekend to the football game with my friends. Like, no, you can't because we have this fight scheduled for this. So I never had time for anything. I didn't have time for friends. I didn't have time for cake growing up. I didn't have time for any of that. But that's why, like, all this has, everything, all that sacrifice has paid off.
What does your wife say?
Oh, no, she's fully supportive of it. Yeah, she's fully supportive of it. She knows we're crazy, but I told her you have to be somewhat crazy when you want to be successful, when you want to achieve the great heights of your craft. You have to be obsessed with it, absolutely obsessed, and that's all you think about. And it's gotten me this far, but I know it's going to get me further.
Well, when you have a fight, she's probably more nervous than you are.
Yeah, she's definitely she's very nervous, but I'm just as nervous. But nervous, but because I want to do so good. Like, sure. I'm my biggest critic.
Did you know that 100 years ago that boxing was illegal in Texas?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't legal until 1933.
I didn't know that.
Before, like in 1925, you can see the laws on the books that there can be no, what they call pugilistic demonstrations or any types of fight with betting or not betting or whatever. You can't showcase fighting in any way with fistic competition, they called it. And beyond that, you couldn't show movies of fighters either because it was considered, uncivilized. And in Texas, you couldn't have bullfighting. Of course, that was thrown in there too. They were in the same law. But in 1933, they made it legal. It had been legal in Mexico for a long time, and that may be why Mexico has a stronger, longer tradition of boxing. I think Mexico has the most titles, across all divisions in the world. I want to ask you about that. You come from, your family has obviously strong Mexican ties in Mexico and here in the States. And so do you feel that your tradition is coming out of Mexico, your boxing tradition?
I consider it Mexican American. I represent and fight for both. I always thank them. I always thank them for the support. I thank the Valley, I thank Brownsville, I thank Matamoros, Mexico. I thank everybody.
Yeah, and so what is it that makes the fighting in this region special in some way? How are you different from, say, Puerto Rico or Cuba? How is the training style, et cetera, different?
Well, the Mexican style is more of my style is kind of different. I've really adapted to a lot of they call it American style, counter punching, right? Because the Mexican style is more of staying in the middle of the ring, body shots. Very similar to Julio Cesar Chavez.
Right.
That's just the Mexican style. The el gancho al hígado, the left hook to the body is the iconic boxing punch for Mexicans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for example, Cuban boxing is more of counter punching, more of hitting and not getting hit, clear points. So there's different types of styles, but
you're a counter puncher, right?
That's the thing. I train with it. We have a Cuban coach at our gym. So he worked at the Olympic team in Cuba. So he shows us a lot of things that they do over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a lot of counter punching, a lot of clear point making, and the punch that I love is that the left hook to the body. I've dropped a lot of people with the left hook to the body because the left hook, it's like the Julio Cesar Chavez punch. You know what I mean? It's that iconic Mexican punch, and it's a crowd pleaser. Most importantly, I love when I throw it and I land and the crowd goes wild.
Well,
so it's cool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I wondered, in a lot of sports, the players will say, "Well, I'm not really aware of the crowd. I'm just so focused, I don't really hear them." And but obviously you do.
Oh yeah, I do. At one point we didn't during COVID.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate.
That must have been weird.
Yeah, it was. I was very fortunate to actually fight 4 times during the pandemic.
Right.
I mean, we're still in it, but I mean, when it was really really hot and we were testing every 2 days, like it was a lot. It was a lot of work and fighting with just hearing my coaches, the judges, the commentators, and that's it.
Was it hard to kind of be really into it, to fight at your best without a crowd?
It kind of did.
Yeah.
I feel like I perform better under pressure. Mm-hmm. And when there's a lot of eyes on me, I just perform better.
Now, you're also a motivational speaker. You go around to schools and here in the Valley and other places. And so what is your primary message to kids?
I always tell them to put their dreams first. Their dreams are their priority. And I never ever go to speak about, like, go persuade them to go do boxing. You know what I mean? It's a scary sport. It's tough and lonely. I don't even think I want my kids to do it. It's scary. So I tell them that their dreams are their priority, and I talk to them about the 6 key principles on how to achieve their goals, which are no excuses, confidence, discipline, strategy, teamwork, and self-worth. And I tell them how I implemented those 6 key principles, not just in boxing, but like outside of the ring as well. You know what I mean? Like in my everyday life, academics, just everything. And it's hard because usually a lot of the speakers that go to the schools, they're a lot older. You know what I mean? That's what everybody tells me. They're like, oh, you're so young to them. You can relate to them. You know what I mean? And I tell them, like, I was in your shoes at one point not too long ago.
Yeah, 10 years.
So they're you can see them, all ears, all eyes are locked on me. So my message really gets through. If it gets through one person out of the tens and thousands that I've spoken to, you know, I've done my job. That's what I want.
Well, I can certainly agree with them on that. You having someone your age who's so accomplished at a national level has got to make them sit up and pay attention. You know,
definitely.
Here's a guy with street cred in their minds. And so I think it's wonderful that you go and tell them to pursue and follow their dreams and pay the price for it, no matter what that dream is.
No,
I think that's wonderful. Do you do that primarily in the Valley, or do you do that elsewhere?
No, I do it in the Valley. I'm open to anything. I've been we're very associated with a nonprofit organization called Down by the Border and Big Heroes as well. They're do you know about them? They're organizations that help adults and kids with special needs.
I know that one, but I don't know Down by the Border.
Yeah, Down by the Border is just the same, but they have kids.
Okay.
So they have kids with special needs, and we train them every during the pandemic. We train them every Friday and Saturday for free. They invited me to be the MC 3 years in a row for the Night to Shine Prom, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation.
Good.
And it's just a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So you're very much involved in the community beyond your boxing.
Yes, sir, definitely.
And one of the things I read that you said somewhere along the line, you said you had a picture on Facebook and you said, "This is my beautiful city," and I love that because so many people your age, particularly, are not particularly proud of their city. They always think, well, I've got to go to New York where things are really cool, or I've got to move to Austin where things are really cool. So I like to see that you have civic pride here. And for instance, many years ago, I came here when I was 33, and one of the things I loved at the time was that Brownsville and Matamoros were like one community, not separated by the legal barriers that exist today, and the physical ones too. And I love that it was one big giant community like that. You know, just kind of the river was an informality, and so I like that you see the beauty and the culture and the natural beauty of the place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been my thing since I started boxing. I don't know. It was just something in me that I always question, why hasn't there been a world champion from here? Like why? Like what is it that we're lacking? You know, we're Mexicans. You know, we should have at least one world champion, and at least in Matamoros. Like I was my brothers and I, we were questioning it. And well, yeah, you know, it's a blessing that everything's been happening, and
Well, the first world champion from Texas was Jack Johnson out of Galveston.
Oh, wow.
He was the first black heavyweight champion of the world. And that was a problem because he was the first black heavyweight champion of the world, and so everybody was gunning for him. They wanted to take his crown away because of the racial animosity at that time. I'm talking back in the 1900, 1910, etc. In fact, when I mentioned that about the film being illegal, he couldn't show a boxing match. It was made illegal because of him, because he beat a white guy for the for the heavyweight championship of the world, and they didn't want, in the very racist America at the time, they didn't want people to see the black boxer beating the white boxer because it had never happened before. So they didn't want that shown around. So they made it illegal to show boxing films because of that. It was in 1910 in Vegas that Jack Johnson won the national, the heavyweight championship of the world, and uncontested. He just destroyed him. Wow. And so it was until 1933 that all that got changed around again. But it's an interesting history of boxing. But I agree with you. So my point is that why not Brownsville? I mean, we had the heavyweight championship of the world come out of Galveston, so why not here? In fact, a lot of the early boxing tradition and champions came out of coastal areas because it was sailors and longshoremen who put together some of the early boxing, right there on the docks. That's where Jack Johnson learned to fight. Was just they had informal boxing on the docks. That's
really?
where.
Wow!
And that's where because you talked about what you call the street fighting with your brother or whatever. That's what they were doing. Just kind of amateurish sparring. But that's where he learned his craft. Now the thing that I wanted to talk to you about also is when you rise to the next level. Do you need to move somewhere else, or can you always be here if that's where you want to be?
As far as the training is no different than any other training. You can have best trainer in the world, but the main part to me and to us is the sparring. Uh-huh. You can get the best sparring in Vegas. So we've had a lot of our training camps in Vegas, and we're just very blessed and fortunate to be able to afford everything and the time to be there and have my family involved.
Sure.
So it's a blessing.
Tell me about your training right now? You're getting ready for a fight. You don't know yet who you're going to fight, right?
No, we don't know yet.
But you're getting ready.
Yeah.
So what does that entail? Give me your day. You get up at what time and you do what?
Well, as of now, we haven't started the official camp yet.
Right.
So right now it's just stay active. Mm-hmm. I'm training once a day. Sometimes twice a day, but when I do the morning workout, it'll normally be yoga. Yoga. I do it for the physical benefits because it has I need to be flexible for my hips. I need to be. I'm getting older. I'm not getting.
22.
I've felt it already.
That old man, 22.
I felt it already that I'm not getting any younger. And I have to stretch. I have to take care of my body. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm doing yoga. I'm doing a lot of swimming, trying to stay off of my joints, stuff like that. More cardiovascular workouts, but just to stay in shape.
So you said that you're 160 now, is that right?
155,
okay.
56.
And when your fighting weight is 145?
141, 140.
Oh my,
yeah.
That's a lot. You've got to drop 10% of your body weight.
Yeah,
just about. Just about.
Well, that's why I have my water. That's why I'm always drinking water.
So no tacos for you, right?
No, I can have tacos too. I can have anything that I want. I try to find healthy alternatives. You know what I mean? So I've done my experimenting. I did a bit of research. I've done a lot of experimenting with what I like, with what's good for me and what's bad for me. Mm-hmm. And for example, if I want tacos, I'll get whole wheat tortilla. Okay. Whole wheat is good carbohydrates, and I'll use turkey. And the turkey has a certain chemical in it that makes you feel sleepy. I don't know if you've ever eaten turkey.
Yeah.
So then I'll eat that for dinner. I'll put some spinach on top of it. You know, spinach is very good in vitamin K, has a lot of zinc. It's good for testosterone as well, so
Right.
I'll add some of that. So anything that I want, I'll just find healthy alternatives for it.
Right. Well, what can you not have? When you say, nah, I want that, but I can't have it. What's your guilty pleasure you must forgo?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot, but cheese, dairy. I just stay away from dairy completely. I feel like it's just a lot, and it gives me like my mucus builds up a lot, and that's what it you know. Mucus is basically it's gonna cause a lot of inflammation in my joints.
Right.
So when I give up dairy, I mean, you could tell like I don't have a big belly. I look lean.
Lean, yeah.
So that's what I try to do. Like my milk, it'll just be almond milk, coconut milk.
What boxers are your heroes that you look to as kind of role models, emulate in some way?
Caleb Plant. I love his story. I love what he's been through. I love what he's able to achieve after what he's been through. I don't know if you know Caleb Plant.
I don't. Tell me his story. I don't know.
He his mother passed away. His daughter had passed away, and she had epileptic seizures, like 200 a day. Like it was bad, and within a month she had passed away, and then he ended up fighting. Like it's a long story, but he's the one that fought Canelo. Canelo had knocked him out, I believe in the 10th round. But him and Manny Pacquiao. I love what Manny Pacquiao does for his people.
Yes, tell me about him. I'm familiar with the name, and I know he had a big fight a couple of years ago. Pacquiao versus, it was like the two titans, but I forget who the other guy was.
Mayweather?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I know he has a phenomenal reputation, but I'm not sure about what he does for his people. What is that?
He's bought in hospitals, houses. A lot. He's given out money. He does like a lot for his community, for his country, most importantly. And he's a big Christian as well. He's a big believer in God, and it's just very beautiful what one man can do for a lot of people. That he came from nothing. You know what I mean? There's pictures of him working out, doing his sit-ups in like a plank of wood,
right,
with some like rubber tires holding his feet. And he's doing like very humble, poor stuff, like where he started to where he's at now, and he's open-heartedly like just giving to everybody. And
it seems like in so many sports that if you start with all the finest stuff and all the money, you're not as good as the person who started, lifting weights with water bottles or something. It seems like you got to pay your dues at that level of humbleness, as you call it.
Yeah, definitely. So, I've always been like that. My family's always been like that. We just grew up. We just grew up liking to give back. It's a certain feeling. It's a certain I feel good. I feel good helping other people, and that's just an addiction that we have.
That's a wonderful addiction.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, if you ever reach the level of Pacquiao, and you have that sort of those sorts of resources available, what would be your dream for Brownsville? What would you want to do here that's special? What does it not have that you think it ought to have for the youth or whatever?
We need more opportunities for sports. I feel like we have a lot of good athletes. We have a lot of good athletes, and we just need more opportunities. I feel like in as far as boxing, I'm opening a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Sure.
For my little brother who's coming up, he's #1 in the USA. We have a whole team, a whole set of kids that's preparing to beat what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as far as boxing, we're opening a lot of doors, but I feel like there could be a lot more programs for sports, like for like you said, cross country. We have a lot of kids who are very, very good at cross country, who just need that extra help. You know what I mean?
Sure. Now, are you talking about facilities, or are you talking about just programs that encourage and oversee and help nurture them?
Yeah, something like that. Something they could go find them traveling teams, even overseas, stuff like that. That would be very nice. Like just and literally any way I can help for any athlete, because I know how that feels, where they want to succeed so bad in something, but they don't have a direction. They don't know where. And I was very fortunate to have my parents. They were just like boxing. When I started, I wasn't like, I'm gonna be it. I just started, and it got me here. Yeah. And that's why I thank them every day. Like, no matter what, I thank them every day, because I'm like, I didn't know what you guys were doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but your consistency with us staying like on the right path led me here, and I thank you. Like, I'm blessed. I'm very grateful, and that's why I never take it for granted. So I just stay stuck on this road. Like, there's no going left or right. I'm staying stuck on this road, and like I thank them every day.
If you had a 10-year-old, say here in Brownsville, say, I really want to get into boxing, and I don't have a lot of money, but it's a passion of mine. I really want to pursue it. So what would you say to him about how to do that here? What does he need to do to get serious?
Come to our gym. Come to RGV Elite Boxing Gym. We're, like I said, I'm opening a lot of doors for a lot of kids. And
where is your Elite Boxing Gym? Where is it?
Well, we're located on Ruben Torres, but we're going to switch very, very soon, like in a month or two. We're going to switch to another location by the airport. It's going to be in our acreage. We're going to have a very, very good facility. Within time, I want to be able to have an indoor track, indoor swimming pool, like just a very, very big facility for all-around athletes. That's ultimately what we want. And there, I'm doing my certification. I'm doing my certification in nutrition. So I want to have my own nutrition shack, like inside of the gym. You know what I mean? That's something that
great idea.
Have pre-workout meals, post-workout meals, shakes, whatever, recovery drinks, BCAA, amino acids, whatever it is, it'll be there for the athletes. And I would like to do that. Just goals after goals after goals, just stuff that I have to stay busy. I have to stay work. How can we grow today?
Are you basically a vegetarian?
No. I have chicken, fish, salmon. Not entirely. I have a lot of vegetables, obviously, but I eat eggs. I guess that would be it. But I stay away from pork. Okay.
I mean, when you're out in the community and you see particularly young people eating, because, you can look at photographs of let's say, high school seniors from 1950, and they're all thin. All. You're not a fat one in the bunch. And, of course, and one of the reasons for that, they ate at home.
Yeah.
They ate at home almost all, because people couldn't afford to eat out. And now you see those same pictures, and, it's a very different picture. People are largely overweight, or at least they're leaning toward overweight. And so what I'm asking is, when you see the consumption of youth and what they're eating, do you say to yourself, they should be doing differently?
At the end of the day, I can't help everybody.
Yeah.
You can only tell them so much. It happens. Everybody, including myself, we love food.
Sure, yeah.
we love food, and Brownsville has like the best food. Matamoros has the best food. It's hard to stay away. But
Brownsville has been getting incredible press lately for being kind of the taco capital of Texas. You want the finest tacos. You got better tacos here than anywhere else in Texas. Texas Monthly wrote about it. New York Times wrote about it.
Yeah,
so it's but that's a two-edged sword, because the tacos are so wonderful.
Yeah, I know they are.
But the question I'm asking is kind of advice to youth. I know you're not being judgmental. You're just saying, in the best of possible worlds, it would be better if you ate more vegetables, because I have an 18-year-old and he's meat and cheese and bread and pizza, but it's hard to get him to eat vegetables at all. And I noticed that of a lot of his friends, they're just anti-vegetable.
No, I always emphasize that every human being, not athlete, every human being should work out at least an hour out of the day. At least 45 minutes to an hour of something being active. Go for a walk, go ride a bike, go skateboard, go detox your body. You know what I mean? This is just to give a little brief example. Right after a fight, I'm completely shredded when I weigh in, I'm super skinny, super lean, like my body fat percentage is very, very low. And then right after the fight, I'll after the win, you know, we'll go eat whatever it is I want. For a whole week, I'll take off after I fight. So that during that week, I'm just eating everything that comes to my mind. Ice cream, let's go get it. Boom, I eat ice cream. A burger, I want a burger, let's go get it. So I'm eating all that, and then I return to the gym the following week. When I return to the gym, of course, I'm a bit thicker. I'm 15 pounds probably heavier. I'll be training, and I'll train. And the thing with me, since I'm drinking a lot of water, I sweat like that. Like within, especially right now, within 30 seconds, my pores are already opening up. You'll see like little dots of water.
Yeah.
So I'll go through a whole training, and you'll look at my socks, and there'll be like literal gray grease coming from my socks. That's just from a week of just eating whatever I wanted. So that just goes give people a little example of like how much of that grease or whatever that is
comes out of you
is inside your body from not working out, not staying active, not detoxing. You know what I mean? And
that's a very powerful visual message.
No, yeah, because I look at it that way too. I'm like, okay, I need to start eating. I need to go back to eating, healthy.
Well, I did wonder about that at post-fight. You said you get some ice cream or something, and I wonder what is your greatest craving post-fight? What is typical? You want spaghetti? What is it you want?
After weigh-ins is always pasta.
It's always pasta.
To get the carbohydrates. But after a fight,
just depends on the day.
It really depends where we're at.
Yeah.
We have them in different locations, and some locations don't have much. But usually, if I'm being honest, if there's like nothing to eat, I just love going to a convenience store and just getting everything. Like that's what we used to do for tournaments. After we won or after we did the tournament, we'd stop at Stripes on the way back. We had like a 20-hour ride back home, so we'd get a bunch of chips, bunch of drinks, bunch of gummies. And I feel like that just stuck with me. So then we'll go to a restaurant, I'll eat, whatever it is, but then we'll get back and I'll just order or I'll find a convenience store somewhere. That's what I'll do.
What's the strangest place you've ever fought? The strangest ambiente.
Yeah.
It's a weird place experience was odd.
Minneapolis, Minnesota is pretty strange. Yeah, I fought there twice. Well, I was supposed to fight there 3 times, but the first time, my opponent didn't make weight.
Oh.
That was actually supposed to be my very, very first fight, but he didn't make weight. So I fought there once, my second fight, and I won by knockout, and then I fought there again, my 12th fight, and that's the one that I lost.
But why is it strange, that place?
It's just a different vibe. just everything's just completely... I guess it's a big city, but a quiet big city. And this last time that I went, it was like after the pandemic, so it was...
Yeah. Is the crowd really quiet?
No, the crowd was fine. I mean, the crowd was fine. It's just that the city...
It's very quiet.
Was very, very quiet, very BLM everywhere, and stuff was boarded up, and it looked like a scary movie. Yeah, like that's why I meant like strange. Like it was. We went sightseeing and everything. The Mall of America's there, the biggest mall, but it's just everything's just boarded up, and some stores where like the glasses were all broken.
Wow. So it looked post-apocalyptic, like a dystopian
kind of,
movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Is there a place that is Vegas kind of your favorite place to fight? Is that the coolest atmosphere?
It's beginning to be. It's the fight pinnacle city of the world for boxing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So everybody, as far as training camps for fights, everything, like we're starting to get more comfortable in Vegas.
And the boxing, you were in Mandalay Bay. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And so it's all in the hotel, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting how those hotels there, they all have. Now it seems like a mall attached to them. I mean, these huge facilities.
Yeah, they have like a whole marketplace on the top, and then the bottom is the casino, and then over here is the arena, and over here is something else. It's just massive casinos.
And every big hotel has its own special events center that holds 8,000 people. Like the arena that you fought in, how many people did it hold? Do you know?
Mandalay, I really don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, they could play basketball in there. They're enormous.
Yeah, definitely. They've had a lot of fights in there. They've had a lot of super fights where 50,000 people go. Like it's big arenas.
So when you walked out into that ring with that crowd and TV and you're the boy from Brownsville, did you have a moment where you just say, this is crazy?
My first fight, I did that by mistake. I did that by mistake, but because I didn't realize what I got myself into. Well, not got myself into. You know, I asked for it. I wanted to turn professional, but I didn't realize it was smaller gloves, not made of big, thick padding. Now it's made out of horsehair, so you feel nothing but knuckle. They're 8 ounces, and I had no headgear. So then, of course, like they start playing my song. My family's cheering. You know, I see the cameras, the lights. I'm smiling, and I get on top. You could see me still smiling. It wasn't until we touched gloves and I walked back. I'm like, oh man, like whoa, like you could see my face change. Like, all right, like now it's game time. Now I have to be careful because this is scary. And you could see that fight wasn't easy. That fight was ultimately my test to see if I was, you know, if they wanted to keep me or not. So they got me a good, strong, durable opponent that just put pressure, and I had to use my skills. You know, if I would have stayed in there on the inside, I'm pretty sure the decision wouldn't have gone my way. But it was a good experience. For my first fight. You
won, but it was tough.
Yeah.
So you had a moment of, this is real now.
Yeah, no, definitely. After that fight, I was like, whoa, all right. I hurt my hand. It was like, I felt like this isn't a game. This isn't a sport anymore. Like it's the hurt business. That's what they call it. So then after that, my second fight in Minneapolis was my first knockout that I got. And that was a different type of feeling. That was like okay, they're going to try to hurt me because now I have to hurt him. Like it's a near him kind of type of situation.
So when you knock someone out, do you feel bad?
No, I don't know. It's I'm
sure there's the moment that you feel good because you knocked them out. But is this moment of I hope they're okay? You know?
Yeah, I think it's not until after where I start to see them and I start to see their facial expressions that I'll begin to feel bad. But like I said, it's either me or him. I say this all the time. I don't like how I feel like the sport chose me rather than me choosing it, and I don't like it. It's okay. It is what it is. It's a very beautiful sport. I love what it's done for me. I love what it's taught me. But it's very unfortunate that I have to hurt someone.
Yeah.
Like I wish I didn't have to hurt them. You know. It is what it is. I'm very good at it. Yeah. I love it. To me, it's boxing is rhythm. It's timing. It's like music. It's like dancing. You know what I mean? Like that's why I love Cuban boxing. That's what it's about. It's about hitting and not getting hit. So like I just love that how beautiful the sport is, but it's just very, very unfortunate that in professional, at my weight class, like the punches hurt, they hurt a lot, and it just knock people out.
I like what you said that Cuban boxing is rhythmic and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's like dancing.
Yeah, it is. Every Cuban coach fighter that I've met, they're always doing the salsa. They're always like, and they mix it with the rhythm of their boxing, because that's what boxing is. It's rhythm. It's timing. And when you perfect timing, when you perfect your rhythm, when you perfect the technique, most importantly, it's beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Are you a good dancer?
I am not. Believe it or not. I'm not a good dancer, but I'm a very good boxer.
Very good boxer.
Yeah.
Who would you hate to fight? Who would really scare you? I mean, anybody. It doesn't have to be your weight class. But,
well, Canelo, I wouldn't want to fight him ever. He seems strong. He seems like an ox. You know what I mean? No, I'm good. I'm staying at 140 for a while.
I remember a photograph I saw recently, and I had no idea about this even being an idea. But there was a time when they talked about Wilt Chamberlain, well before your time. Wilt Chamberlain was, one of the best basketball players ever, 7 foot tall, and he weighed about 300. And there was a time when they talked about having Wilt Chamberlain fight Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali was I think he's about 6 foot, I believe, maybe 6'1", something like that. But they have a picture of the two of them together, and of course Wilt Chamberlain's reach is about 5 inches beyond his. It never did come about, but I wondered if that fight had taken place. And we have plenty of examples where very, very tall people fight shorter people, and it doesn't really give them a great advantage. Shorter people get inside and work their magic. So I was just going to ask you strategically, if you had to fight someone who was, say, my height, 6'5", and long and wiry, what would be your strategy to beat them?
Well,
they got a longer reach, so what do you do about that?
So there's, it's boxing. Both parties have to stick to their game plan. The longer one has to keep him away, using his footwork, using the ring, using angles to keep him away from him. And the one that's shorter has to jab to the stomach, has to move their head, jab to the stomach, jab to the stomach, right to the stomach, jab to the stomach, and all of a sudden you feint, come on top. And that's how you catch them. You feint, come on top with overhands, like come over, over their head, and just be aggressive. A lot of pressure. It's just different styles of fighting.
Do you like to fight on the ropes, or do you like to stay in the center? Do you have any preference that way, just depending on the moment and the person?
Yeah, it really depends on the fighter, but I like a chess match. I really like doing that. I really like when both of the fighters are, and he's not moving, I'm not moving. We're both competing for pressure. That's what I like.
So what are you better with, left or right?
I think left. Yeah, my left hand.
Because people are always afraid of the lefty.
Yeah, they are.
But why is that? Why is the left somehow magical compared to the right?
Because the way you stand, a right-handed fighter is they have their left foot front, their right foot back. Their left hand up, their right hand like this, basically like this. I'm facing you. This is how I would stand. But with the southpaw, they stand like this, and they're at a certain angle where they're able to hit you. Like they're just comfortable throwing a punch, and they're able to hit you where you can't hit them. It's just very, very awkward. And even at one point, I think they wanted to ban southpaws from boxing. Like it was
really
to that point,
I never heard that, because they just have what is considered a natural advantage.
Yeah, basically, because they just had an advantage, and they do.
Well, in the baseball too. The left-handed pitchers.
I've heard that as well. I don't like how. What do you mean? Like how does?
Well, I think because they're left-handed, the ball comes in at a closer angle to the batter, or it comes in at where they can throw sidearm to a. No, excuse me, that's not right. It's about the angle that the ball comes in at that gives them, the lefty, an advantage. It's almost like an optical illusion to the batter. Things look faster than they are, they look closer than they are, things like that. So, and it may just be that visually it's weird, that your explanation in boxing makes a lot of sense, because people are standing in ways that they're not used to because they don't fight a left-handed fighter much. Yeah. But in baseball, it's just coming out of the left hand. It's all backwards, and it's weird to the right-handed batter. I guess the left-handed batter is all the same. But,
yeah.
I don't know if it transfers to other sports. I know there's a quarterback that's coming up that's ambidextrous. He can throw just as well with either hand, and that makes for a real advantage, because oftentimes a quarterback that's right-handed running to the left has a hard time throwing, because he's running down but if you're ambidextrous, just think an advantage that would be either sideline you can throw as well. So that's rare. Well, okay, so you're just waiting. When are you going to find out who you're going to fight? In your next fight?
Well, in the next few weeks, we'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out.
And you don't even know where that's going to be yet.
Where? No.
So it's all going to come to you.
Hopefully here in Texas. I know they had a fight in San Antonio not too long ago, but hopefully here in Texas, so we can have more fans out there.
Well, I hope it's somewhere close. I would love to come see you. I've only seen about 4 fights in my life, and one of them, 2 of them in Matamoros, and they're they almost set up it was a parking lot. They just set up a ring in a parking lot, and there were 40 people there, and it was all very real. It was real. I mean, there was blood and the spit flying out into the audience. It It was awesome. But this
Pretty
was like
intense.
20. It was like 20 years ago that I'm talking about. So.
No, they still do it. They still do that. They still do the fights in the parking lot and back of Walmarts and stuff like that.
Well, they used to have them here at Jacob Brown, right? They used to have fight night here. At
Yeah,
Jacob
they
Brown.
used to. I would go to a lot of them. Sergio Perales, Time to Shine. I don't know if he was a boxer here at Brownsville. He trained at the Boys and Girls Club. He would fight there a lot. Omar Figueroa, I think, did like an exhibition there as well.
Have you ever had to fight a friend, someone that you knew well, and you say, well, I don't
No, well, in the amateurs, yeah.
In amateurs, yeah.
Yeah, in the amateurs, many times. It happens.
And so is it easy to walk away and still be, or are you mad at each other for a little while?
Yeah, it's awkward. It's
awkward.
It's awkward for a while, and then I guess we just forget about it. But I have a couple of friends that I fought, and we're still in contact today.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and coming in. I know you actually broke from your training schedule to come in and talk to us. So,
no, thank you guys so much for having me. No, thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing.
So good to meet you.
Yeah. Likewise.
Enjoyed it.